Okay, let's get started. Once again, guys, welcome to this webinar on the evolution of incident management from on-call to SRE. I'm Vardhan, the product marketing manager at Squadcast, and also the host of this webinar. And on the panel, I'm joined by Deepak, our head of product, and Akash, our senior solutions engineer. Hey, Deepak and Akash, feel free to unmute yourself and just briefly give an introduction.
Thank you, Vardhan. My name is Deepak Balakrishna. I'm the head of product here at Squadcast. Today, I'll be speaking to you about the state of incident management and where we believe it'll evolve into.
Hi
Over to you,
everyone.
Akash.
Thanks, Deepak. Hey everyone. I'm Akash. I'm the Senior Solutions Engineer here at Squadcast. I'll be giving you a short but great product walkthrough of Squadcast here to understand how it solves all the pain points.
Okay, thank you, Akash and Deepak. So, yeah, before we go further, let me set the agenda for today's webinar. I'll spend the first 5 minutes talking about some notable outages from the past, how they've impacted us from both a financial perspective and also from a well-being perspective. I'll then hand over the slides to Deepak, who will talk about the state of incident management today and how the practices have evolved over the years from on-call to SRE, and also how Squadcast can help organizations adapt to this changing landscape. And then we'll hand it over to Akash, who will do a short demo of Squadcast for about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll then conclude the session with a Q&A section. All the participants, if you all have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A section and we'll address them towards the end. And I would also like to reassure everyone that this recording would be shared with you all by tomorrow. Okay, so on that note, we can get started. First, why are we here today? The incident management landscape has changed so much over the last 2 to 3 decades, more so in the last 10 to 15 years. And reliability, which was once just an afterthought, is in fact a priority now. And the reasons are plain and clear, right? There are more people on the internet than ever before. There are more people that are using digital products as part of their work, as part of their pursuit for passion, probably just to stay relevant. And the bottom line is customers have the right for reliable software and they have the right to ask for it when they really want it to work. And as technology companies, it's our duty to make sure our products are reliable. So, I mean, to be honest, no software is 100% reliable, right? And incidents are inevitable. And triaging and remediating them in a timely manner is what is going to make all the difference. So, on that note, let's talk about some popular outages that we've witnessed. But probably before I talk about the ones that have really impacted us, the audience here can use the chat section to drop your opinion on which have been the most impactful ones, which have impacted you all personally, or which you are just aware of. Let's see if we get any interesting outages listed here, and let's compare them to what we feel are probably some of the most impactful ones. Cloudflare. Yep. Cloudflare indeed is a very transparent company, so quite a few incidents have been reported. Google 2022, absolutely. AWS, yes. Okay, some interesting ones. We also have the same covered. So why don't we get started? Let me just talk about how incidents have really impacted end users and companies alike. The ones that really matter in this case, right? So one of the most impactful ones is you guys might be aware of this from October 2021. It was a mega outage that took down Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and Oculus for almost 5 hours. And during these 5 hours, no one was able to use any of these products, right? I'm sure most of you remember this. And then there was a downstream effect of Google Cloud outage, which led to numerous outages across their products, and also a number of non-Google companies got impacted at the same time, right? And very recently, Amazon's search issue from December 2022 impacted at least 20% of all global users for almost an entire day. Yeah, that's madness, right? And most recently in 2023 of January, especially the guys in US might be aware of this. The Federal Aviation Authority suffered an outage due to a failed scheduled maintenance. This caused almost 32,000 flights to get delayed and almost 400 to get cancelled altogether. Right, and needless to say, the monetary impact was pretty massive. Uh, so finally, we were able to gather some really interesting, did you know facts about outages and how they've impacted and how people really respond and feel about it, right? So what we understood was it takes almost 12 positive user experiences to make up for one unresolved negative issue. About 88% of web visitors are not likely to return to a site after a bad experience. And even a 1 second delay in page load can cause almost 7% loss in customers. And ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the reasons why resolving incidents quickly is very critical, right? And on that note, I'd like to hand over the slides to Deepak, our head of product, to talk about the state of incident management today. Hi, Deepak, over to you.
Thank you, Vardhan. Can you see my slides?
Oh, we can.
Yeah, okay. So where is incident management today? First, applications are quite complex with the use of public cloud, with the use of microservices, and as a result, it's very difficult for companies to ascertain when something goes wrong, what exactly is going on. So incidents are, as a consequence, increasingly complex as well. On the other hand, users are far more dependent on and comfortable with technology, so they are unwilling to put up with any kind of downtime or any bad experience that they may face. To try to address this, companies have tooling across their infrastructure to try to find and fix issues, but this tool sprawl only adds to the complexity and doesn't do anything to fix it. Right? Let's now step back a little bit and talk about the history of incident management. 15 years ago, technology was a lot simpler. Most applications tended to be monolithic applications, typically three-tier architectures. So when something went wrong, it was easy enough to determine what was happening and where it was happening, so you could immediately understand and fix an issue. They tended to be large operations teams, whose duty it was to find and fix issues and to maintain this service. Processes, when they existed, largely tended to be manual, very little automation, not much focus on service level objectives or agreements, and there was very little monitoring or tooling in place. A lot of this started to change about 7 years ago uh, with the advent of the usage of public cloud, with the advent of microservices. So, especially with medium to large enterprises, systems started to get a lot more complex. And as a result, complex incidents started to be seen. Teams started to get smaller. They were asked to do more with less, and you started to see the evolution and the of on-call and the evolution of incident response teams and the use of automation. There was a greater focus on service level agreements and objectives to try to ascertain and add metrics around reliability for systems, and customers now started to get more comfortable with and less accepting of more comfortable with technology and less accepting of outages to their experience. You started to see a lot more tooling, especially around monitoring and alerting. Fast forward to today, a lot of this has only accelerated. Now, even the smallest teams, even the quote unquote simplest applications tend to be quite complex distributed apps, right? With the use again of microservices, Kubernetes, public clouds, and the like. Teams are even smaller. It is not uncommon now for engineering teams to have to support the applications that they have built. So they're doing double duty in addition to their day job in engineering. They now have been part of on-call teams. There's heavy reliance on automation, and now companies are getting much stricter of incorporating their service level objectives into their process. Now you see tools across monitoring, across observability, across incident management and ticketing as well. So that's where things are. To summarize, what are the problems we see with the setup today around reliability? One, as we discussed earlier, is it's extremely complex, and managing this complexity is a huge problem. Even though companies want to get to automate through this entire stack, through their entire infrastructure, a lot of them are not quite there. A lot of steps tend to still be manual. When an incident does occur, there is a need for communicating with your team, across your team, within the organization, and this happens in very disparate ways, right? Some people use Slack, some people use MS Teams, some people use email, some people use WebEx or MS Teams video. So while collaboration happens, it's not very efficient. It's not easy to maintain a single source of truth. It's difficult to follow what's happening without a proper process in place. And last but not least, it's very, very important to keep stakeholders within the company and customers in the loop on what's happening with the service, as well as to learn from these incidents so that you're more efficient the next time around. So that's not quite happening as well. So these are four large problems we see with incident management today. So, what should engineering teams start doing, and how can the rest of the organization support them in this reliability journey? Let's start with on call. Now, on call is very important. It is the foundation of a good reliability practice. What do we mean when we talk about on call? It's the ability to bring in all of the alerts, all of the incidents from your services, from your monitoring tools into a single command center, in which you set up the rules on how these incidents get routed to and sent to the right people at the right time at the right place. And in addition, also reducing down these alerts, which can get quite noisy, reducing them down to the most important ones with the use of advanced techniques and correlation. Right? So that's the base fundamentals of what on-call is. While that is important, very, very important, it alone is simply not enough anymore. Users' expectations have changed. They want the best, they want the most delightful experience at all times. They want their features yesterday. And in case something happens, they want you to find and fix issues as quickly as possible. Right? So the processes need to be much, much stronger. And that brings us to SRE, or Site Reliability Engineering. Now, SRE came out of Google a few years ago, about 5 years ago, based on the principles that was being used internally within Google. These are now adopted across the industry. What is it? Where DevOps is a set of principles, SRE focuses on specific activities, mainly focused on helping you achieve better reliability and performance. There is a great focus on monitoring, on tracking, on systems, on automation, and collaboration and learning. Right? So these are all principles of SRE, and how can they help you? Right? One, it gives you a framework to take a data-driven and engineering-driven approach to find and fix issues and improve customer satisfaction. It also puts into place a framework by which you reduce the amount of time to finding and fixing issues, what is called toil, and automate as much as possible to make it much more efficient. At the same time, learning is a big part of this framework, by which at the end of an incident, it's important to learn from it with retrospectives as postmortems, so you're more efficient the next time around, and also to communicate along the workflow with your stakeholders and with your customers. SRE is just growing based on this very recent Gartner report. They believe it will grow from 10% now to 75% in the next few years. So this is a huge shift in the reliability workflow for most enterprises. So now that we have identified that reliability has evolved, it is time to become more proactive and preventative. So what exactly are the SRE principles we believe are most important? The first is to shift left in your reliability stack to start incorporating your service level objectives, your service level agreements, so that you understand by connecting to your monitoring tools, to your services directly, even before an error happens, even before an incident happens, what exactly is going on, to see the trend line if something is deteriorating, understanding your error budgets. So all of this becomes far more important by moving left in this process. Second is to enhance your current on-call setup. To include to add on to schedules and escalation policies to now integrate with the collaboration tools you use with Slack, with MS Teams, so you have a very efficient mechanism of communication. Third, most enterprises already have a sequence of steps that they use today with their playbooks or runbooks that they follow when an incident happens. This needs to be automatically be made part of this process. So you understand immediately when an incident comes in what needs to be done, and you should automate some pieces of it as well. And fourth, keeping your stakeholders, both internal and external, with your customers, in the loop as you progress along your incident workflow with status pages, and at the end, learn from it with retrospective so you get better at it the next time something similar happens. The idea here is to define a process that helps you get much better at finding and fixing things, and over time, getting much better at it. Right? I'll now hand it over to Akash to demo just such a tool that brings it all together. Over to you, Akash.
Hey, thanks, Deepak, for that. Thanks for explaining all of those points. So, all right, now let's check out Squadcast, which basically tries to cover all of those pain points that Deepak just mentioned before. Now, to set up context, like Squadcast is basically like a reliability workflow platform that actually helps you to integrate all of your different monitoring and your metric collection applications, or even your help desk tools for that matter, and then send your incident notifications to all the right folks to the right time. It also is built around the best practices of site reliability engineering. So, in addition to supporting the traditional on call features, it also supports SRE specific features that we'll go through while we go through the complete platform itself. All right. Now, without wasting any time, once you log in, you land on the dashboard. So the dashboard actually gives you like a 30-foot view over all the incidents that would come in from the different tools that you integrate here with Scottcast. So immediately it is trying to solve that tools sprawl problem where you don't need to jump onto multiple tools. Everything is coming onto a single command center. Now, these incidents can be categorized in like four basic states, which would be like your triggered, acknowledged, resolved, and your suppressed state. Along with that, you'll also see your like real time mean time of acknowledgement and your resolution. So immediately you know okay how your team has been performing over like a certain period of time, like in a week or in a month, for that matter. Now, let's take an incident for an example. And throughout that journey of that incident, we'll look over how each of these features that are there in Scottcast adds value to your complete incident management process. So let's take this incident for an example. What this incident states is that, okay, it's a CPU throttling issue. Now, the first question that comes into our mind that, okay, how, I mean, where it came from, right? So here on the dashboard itself, we know that it came from Prometheus and it impacted a certain service called API. Now, here at Scottcast, you can actually define all of your services here onto the tool itself. So services are really at the core of what Scottcast offers. A service is like your most logical unit that you're trying to monitor at your end, so it can represent certain functional components of your application or your business components or even your complete applications in itself. So it's like a complete representation of your own infrastructure, be it may if you follow like a monolithic architecture or like a distributed one. You can simply represent it here onto the tool itself. So it reduces complexity about managing all of your different services that you to your own customers or clients. Now, these services can then be integrated with different tools in the market. Scottcast actually supports integrations with more than 160 popular tools in the market. It also supports, it's completely cloud agnostic, so be it may AWS, Azure, GCP, you're completely covered there as well. It also gives you like detailed information on different incidents that would come in. Suppose if you receive any kind of customer emails, even those can then be routed to Squadcast so that you can manage everything from a single tool itself. All right. Now we know what are our services that we want to manage and where these monitoring tools are and how they are integrated. Along with this, you can even define your own service level objectives here onto the tool itself. Now, SLO tracker that we have here on the platform actually helps you to define your own service level objectives and indicators here onto the platform itself. That in turn also helps you to monitor your own error budget. Now, here onto the tool itself, you can define your own service, complete SLOs. The tool with the complete SLO overview will show you, okay, what targets that you're trying to achieve on the top, that, okay, what is your target SLO, what is the error budget that you have, in which time that you're trying to achieve it. Along with that, it will also show you the current real-time metrics that you have. That, okay, in for that specific SLO, what do you have currently, how much error budget you have consumed versus how much is the remaining for you, how many SLO affecting incidents have been there versus the remaining ones. It will also show you like a complete breakdown of, okay, which services have been affecting this SLO the most, which are the indicators that have been affecting those SLOs itself, and then all the incidents and how you have been burning through your own error budget. All right. Now we have integrated all the tools. We know exactly where our incidents would be coming from. An incident came in. Now what happens next? Notifications are rolled out. Now these notifications are handled through the escalation policies that we have. These escalation policies actually help you to define that, okay, who are supposed to be notified, when do you want to notify them, and what are the notification mediums that you actually want to use for these notifications of certain incidents. Squadcast actually allows you to create multiple escalation policies. Each of these escalation policies can have their own layered escalations. Each layer can have like users, squads, or complete schedules as well. You can choose exactly what are the notification mediums that you want to use to notify your different team members, like your email, push notification, SMS, and even phone call for that matter. Squadcast also supports like both Android and iOS, so you'll receive notifications no matter which OS actually you're using on top of it. As I was mentioning, in the escalation policy itself, you can directly mention on-call schedules itself. Now, these on-call schedules is actually where you would define that, okay, who would be available to work whenever incidents are triggered. We now live in a era where there are team members scattered all across the globe. And Squadcast actually helps you to manage all of their on-call timings. So I have like a few examples here to actually help you visualize how your own schedules might look like. So like your business hour schedule, your non-business hours, 24/7 schedules, all of those can be created here. Each of these schedules can have their own like time zone, how their rotations are supposed to work, who are supposed to be the participants for them, so that you can manage your complete on-call shifts, your notifications, everything onto the platform itself. You do not need any external tool to manage all of these. All right. Now, the way it will work is once the notifications go out, people are notified. Okay, someone on that notification list will try to then acknowledge the incident. They can either come onto the platform or even utilize the mobile app, or simply if they receive like a phone call, simply acknowledge from then and there itself. Once you acknowledge an incident, then you can start to work on it. Now, suppose after the initial triaging, they found out that this is an SLO impacting incident. Since this is an SLO impacting incident, they can simply mark it as affects SLO, choose the SLO that it is affecting, the indicator that might be affecting that SLO, and then simply click on save. So the SLO tracker will start tracking, okay, how much time you are taking to resolve that incident. Now, while you're trying to resolve it, the tool will provide you all the details that you would need in resolving for resolving those kind of incidents. It will tell you, okay, which service was affected, tool which sent it, okay, how much time it has been since the incident was created, when exactly was it acknowledged. You'll see, okay, which escalation policy got picked up, who acknowledged the incident, who is trying to work on it. You'll also see like an activity timeline here. Now, this is a great feature where it actually tells you like, okay, what are whatever actions that were taken on this issue. So even if you want to review the actions taken on this issue at a later stage, you can simply download even the activity timeline as a PDF or as a CSV file to review those. Along with that, collaboration is a big part of SRE. That was also some of one of the pain points that Deepak had mentioned before. Squadcast actually helps you in bringing all of your engineers together so that you can resolve the incidents immediately. One of these features is our incident-specific chat room called the note section. Now you can utilize the note section to add mention any of your team members in here, or even your stakeholders for that matter, or even the complete squads in itself. As soon as you put in a note in here, people are automatically notified via an email as well as a push notification. Right. On top of it, Squadcast also supports native integrations with various other chat ops tools. So be it may Slack or even MS Teams for that matter, or even Google Chat. We integrate with all of them. So not only the four notification mediums that I mentioned to you earlier, you can even receive notifications from directly on Slack or MS Teams. And you can even take all of your actions directly from there. So you can acknowledge, resolve, or even work directly onto the MS Teams, and whatever notes that you add onto the tool, that they get automatically bidirectionally sync here onto the web application as well. All right. Now, on top of it, the tool will also help you in resolving a lot of these incidents. So what happens right now is, okay, once an incident came in, people start to work on it, but they do not, they don't have an idea. Okay, how do I need to resolve this? This is where Squadcast can help you. The runbooks feature is really helpful for this. You can actually attach a runbook to a specific incident once a runbook is attached. Right now, these steps will automatically be highlighted, which your support engineers or your DevOps SREs can simply try to follow to resolve your incidents much faster. As soon as they complete each of these steps, they can simply select the checkbox. That again is reflected on the activity timeline. So you're again in the know that, okay, what is happening, how much of the runbook is done, how much is still left. Then, if you want to keep your external stakeholders in loop and notify them that, okay, what is happening around this incident, then status pages is something that can be really helpful. So status pages actually help you to relay the status of your services to your own clients and stakeholders. A lot of times, what happens is a lot of organizations use standalone tools just for something like a status page. This is again something that is completely built in onto our platform, so you can list out all of your services onto the status page. The status of these services automatically change, so this is also something that you do not even need to think about. They'll by default they'll stay under operational, but whenever you receive any incident for them, they'll again change to degraded. As soon as you resolve the incident, will again change back to operational. You can again have two kinds of status pages, either public or private. So the public status page, as it says, is available to anyone, but a private status page will only be accessed by the users and stakeholders that you add here onto the platform itself. Now, on top of it, whenever you want to update your own status page, under this incident details page, you can click on update status page in here, put in the current status, the message that you want to relay to your own clients and stakeholders. You can even attach like images or files for that matter along with this message. And choose a status page that you want to update, since you can have multiple status pages here onto the platform itself. All right. Apart from that, Squadcast also supports a lot of integrations with these help desk tools for that matter. So if you use something like Jira, and suppose a P1 incident came in from your monitoring tools like Aided or Prometheus, and you would want a ticket for that in your own Jira project, then you can even try to create those directly from the actions menu itself. Or we also support something called outgoing webhooks, which can actually help you create a lot of these custom workflows that also helps you in auto remediating a lot of these incidents. So that's where these features can come in. You can even, if you use Circle CI, form rebuilding actions directly from the tool. Once you resolve an incident, then you can start to create your postmortems. Now, postmortems are basically your root cause analysis that you would want to create for a certain kind of incident. Now, to create your own postmortem, you can simply click on Start Postmortem. You can select between your 6 predefined templates that are already created. Now, you can simply select between from these templates. Once a template is selected, the data of that incident automatically gets filled. You don't even need to do anything by yourself. But if you do want to add like additional information that you have at your end, then you can simply click on the edit icon, add whatever that you want to, and then simply click on create. The postmortem is automatically created. You can even later on view your postmortems, edit them, or even download it as a markdown or as a PDF file if you want to share it to your own stakeholders at your end. So all the postmortems that you create will be viewable under the postmortem section. So it invariably becomes like a knowledge base for all of the on-call engineers. So if a similar incident occurs at a later stage, People can simply see if there was a similar incident earlier, look at the postmortem, replicate that to resolve the incidents much faster. Now, along with this, Kotlin also supports various automation rules. Now, these automation rules can actually help you like make your life easier, first of all, and also helps you to streamline a lot of your incident management process. Let's take so on this incident list, right? We are seeing a lot of these colorful bits. Now, these colorful bits are basically called tags. Now, these tags can automatically be added to any incoming incidents using the automation rules that we support. This is something called tagging rules here onto the platform itself. So, under any service, you can simply go on to the automation rules, and there you will find the tagging rules itself. Now, the tagging rules, the way as it says, is basically you can create different rules. Depending upon those rules, different tags can automatically be attached to any incoming incidents in real time. Now, the tags that you create in here, of course, they're helping you to classify them, but what additional features they can help you achieve is basically, along with this classification, this can help you under your routing as well. So, the routing rules can actually pick up these tags and then route them accordingly based on the rules that you create in it. So, we can have conditions like if like priority is P1 or high, routed by the high priority escalation policy rather than the default ones that we usually utilize. Or if it's a certain kind of alert type, so suppose there is a DBA and you have like a certain team that is supposed to be looking after your database and supposed to be resolving these kind of incidents, then you can even directly simply send these incidents to those engineers. Now, what it is basically trying to solve is what happens is usually an incident comes in, it will go to L1. Now, L1 looks at it, figures out, okay, there's a certain kind of developer or a team of engineers who's supposed to resolve it, then reassigns it to that team, and then someone from that team tries to resolve the incident. Now, if you have something like a routing rule for that matter, the tool itself can figure out okay, which priority this incident is, what kind of alert this is. And depending upon that information, it will automatically send this to the certain engineers or group of engineers who are actually supposed to resolve those. So it reduces your mean time of acknowledgement as well as your resolution. On top of it, you can even utilize your deduplication rule. So deduplication actually helps you to club all of your similar incidents. So suppose like a catastrophic issue happened and multiple nodes went down. You would see a lot of incidents come in for the same issue. Now, ideally, what you want is basically to club them together so that first of all, your engineers are not bombarded with incident notifications, and it also helps to reduce alert fatigue for the engineers that you have at it, right? So again, depending upon the conditions, you can define it. It can then correlate along with previous incidents that were there and then club them together. We also have something called suppression rules. Now, suppression rules basically helps you to suppress all of your non-critical alerts that you do not want to even take a look at or do not want to be even notified for. It also helps you to reduce all of your false positives that you might receive from the different monitoring tools that you would have integrated with Squadcast. Right. So this again helps you to reduce all of the false positives that you might have at your end. Now, we have seen that okay how the tool helps us to reduce complexity by having like a complete representation of our own infrastructure here, define what our services, how our services basically should be performing, reduce tool sprawl since it becomes like a single command center by integrating with every tool that you might have at your end, add automation onto your basic incident management process, so a lot of these things can be sped up and streamlined on top of it, and then help you to follow basically the SRE best practices, which is basically what we are trying to achieve here. On top of it, the tool will also help you from learning from all of these incidents that are occurring. This can actually be done from the analytics sections that we have. Now, the analytics section basically allows you to see, okay, what is happening on your complete incidents on an organization level and as well as on your team level itself. So if I click on the organization, I can see, okay, how many incidents I received in a particular time period, what has been my mean time of acknowledgement and resolution for them, how my team has been performing over a certain period of time. I can see that in a graph, so I can see whether my team is improving or not. And there'll be a heat map in here that will help me toggle between different dates. So you can see information for those specific days itself. And at an organization level information, I can see, okay, open incidents by different teams, deduplicated incidents by different teams, suppressed incidents as well. Again, everything here is completely downloadable. So again, it can be shared with certain stakeholders or customers if you want. Along with that, if you want to see, okay, what is my team level information? Okay, how a certain team has been performed. That is also there. So again, if you click on a specific team, you can see how many incidents are there in that specific team, how they have been performing through their MTT and MTTR for that matter. Then you can here see, okay, how many open incidents are there for certain kind of services. You can see, okay, which services have been impacted the most. How many open incidents are there for different users. You can see, okay, if if there is like a certain kind of engineer who's working more than the others that are there. If you can see, okay, how many deduplicated incidents are there by different services or different alert sources for that matter. So if you can see, okay, a certain kind of alert source is sending too many duplicate events for you, how many suppressed and reassigned as well. So all of that is also available. You can even then further drill down and see, okay, information only for a specific service for that matter. If you want to see, okay, how many P1 and P2 incidents I received or certain kind of alert type, then we can even filter them by different tags. And then if you want to see information for a specific user, that, okay, how they have been performing, you can even then filter them by different users as well. So yeah, that's how Squadcast basically helps you in resolving all of your pain points and then establish the SRE best practices, which is anyway where the industry is trying to move towards. Cool, yeah. So that's about it, really. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I'll hand it over back to Vardhan now.
Yeah, thank you, Akash. That was very nice demo. Yeah, so to summarize what we've just seen, Squadcast is the only integrated platform that unites on-call alerting and incident management along with SRE workflows under one roof. Be it setting up on-call schedules, leveraging event intelligence for alert suppression, or automating incident response, we have it all covered. And on that note, we are now open to questions. So we've got a couple of interesting questions on chat. We've given responses, and there are about two open questions in our Q&A section. Deepak, I'll just read out the question. Maybe you can give an answer to that. One of them is, can we notify multiple Slack channels for the same incident?
Uh, you can definitely resolve incidents from Slack, and yes, there is a way you can also resolve across multiple channels. Yeah.
Right, right. Thank you. And another question, can we acknowledge incidents from within Slack?
Yes.
Right, nice. Thank you. So, any more questions, folks? Please have it coming. We're almost done with the session.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions I think we've been already answering on chat, but I'll cover them here anyway. There was a question around use of prediction to figure out past incidents and what we can do. So as I mentioned on the chat, one of the things that we are working on actually right now is to look at past incidents and give you suggestions based on what you did with the past incidents. I think the follow-on question was, can you just predict even if an issue should not happen at all? I think that's a little more advanced, right? I think with the help of SLOs, etc., we can start understanding trend lines and tell you things are going wrong so you can avoid incidents altogether. So those are all parts of the improvements we will look at providing for a reliability workflow. Yeah. There's another question on integration with Confluence to create incident postmortem. It's a great question. Actually, that is actually one of the things we're looking at is to integrate with external and export to Confluence, Google Docs, Notion, and third-party systems where you may want to store them. It's not in the current version, but it's absolutely something that we're looking at as a near-term roadmap. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes, Deepak, there's one more question. The attendee is asking, how do you ensure more transparency during an ongoing incident response?
Yeah, so I think some of it was shared during the chat and on the demo, right? when transparency really means keeping others involved, informed, right? You have stakeholders who can log in and look at what's going on, and even if they're not participants, that's one way to do it. Second is the integration with chat tools like Slack channels, like Slack or MS Teams, so you can be part of the channel and see what's going on. Third, if you are if we have internal status pages and external status pages, which is you can post to, and that's another way to communicate and be transparent about what's going on. So there are multiple avenues that, depending on your choice, you can choose whatever works for you. Yeah. Anything else?
Yep, I don't think we have any other questions on our Q&A, but there is one question on our chat from Shravan Kumar. Would you want to address that?
Yeah, I'm just reading it as to follow and measure SRE practice, integrating it with tools like Squadcast is best practice. And what are the other tools available in the market? I want to know what is being practiced in the industry since moving to cloud and DevOps mindset. Not sure I completely understand the question. Let me read. Okay, Vishal answered with more about what you want to provide. So essentially, I think there are multiple tools. Typically, monitoring tools we integrate with, right? That's where the alerts come from. Grafana, Datadog, etc. Right? So those that are uh, integration from the left. That's where we get alerts from. On the right, we integrate with ticketing tools like Jira, right? Which is what most of our customers use. And of course, we already talked about integrating with Slack and MS Teams for collaboration. So we sit together across tools on either side, which is now all part of what we call the reliability workflow. Right?
Thank you, Deepak. Sean, I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, guys, last 1 minute. If you have any questions, this is your chance. Okay, thank you. I think that would be all. Thank you very much, participants. If these incident management workflows align with your needs, feel free to go ahead and sign up to our 2 week free trial. If you want to know more about Squadcast, you can also schedule a call with our sales team for a quick demo. And on that note, we'd like to thank you all once again for joining us in this webinar. The recording will be shared with you all tomorrow to your registered email addresses. We hope to conduct more webinars like this in the future. I hope to see you all in the future. And on that note, on behalf of everyone at Squadcast, I'd like to thank you once again. Thank you.